Hello all. Thank you for joining the webinar. In this webinar, we will cover details related to BMC Client Management integration with Trackit and its best practices. My name is Cynthia and I'm a Senior Technical Support Analyst working with BMC Client Management product. So let's get started. This is our agenda for the webinar. We will start with a quick overview of both the products and share details about the features that will get enabled once the integration is successful. We will also talk about the system requirements to install and integrate Trackit with BMC Client Management, followed by demos. And towards the end of the webinar, we will cover some troubleshooting scenarios and share references. Let me share some features of Trackit and why you would like to expand it further with the features of BCM. Trackit offers help desk and ticketing capabilities that keep work from falling through the cracks and converts all emails to tickets automatically. With change management, you could reduce change-related outages. Knowledge management will save time as it utilizes solution articles generated from previous help desk tickets. It also offers report and dashboards to help you save time with an instant visual display of your key performance indicator. Asset discovery and device management are the two features that will get enabled within Trackit once it integrates successfully with BMC Client Management. Asset discovery collects inventory for all the devices in your environment, including Windows, Mac, Linux, and even network devices. The device management feature will allow you to install agents on different devices and perform advanced tasks on them. Apart from the mentioned features, BCM also provides additional functionalities such as OS and application deployment that helps you automate deployment of operating systems and softwares to your endpoints, software license management that will ensure your licenses are being used as intended, the compliance management feature that will make sure your endpoints are compliant with your policies, and finally, the patch management feature that is used to efficiently deploy patches throughout your environment. For the integration of BMC Client Management with Trackit, you will need to make sure the compatibility matrix is met. Each Trackit release supports a specific BMC Client Management version only. Hence, it is highly recommended that you go through our documentation page before planning the integration. Let's now discuss the system requirements to install and integrate Trackit with BMC Client Management. Both applications are designed to be installed exclusively on server operating system. Trackit functions as a web application, necessitating the presence of IIS on the server. In case where IIS is not detected during the installation, the installer will prompt you to initiate the installation. Additionally, both applications rely on SQL Server database on the backend. Users have the flexibility to utilize their own SQL Server. However, it's imperative to opt for a full version of SQL Server. If opting for a SQL Express, ensure the use of SQL Express with advanced services. This is crucial as advanced services encompasses supplementary text indexing features essential for proper functionality of the product. During the installation process, it is strongly recommended to utilize a local administrative account. This ensures that the installer has the necessary permission to execute all required actions seamlessly. This approach contributes to a smooth and trouble-free installation experience. With standard mode installation, Trackit installer automatically installs and configures BCM for the Trackit environment. And manual installation requires you to install BCM separately and then configure it in Trackit to establish a connection. The BCM master must be installed through the Numara MSI that populates within the Trackit setup. During the process of installing BCM, when you reach the database configuration page, pick the instance detail correctly. A typical instance for the database will populate the hostname of the server that hosts the Trackit database /Trackit. Next, you could click on the Check Connection option if you would like to use the current Windows account that is configured on the database connection. Or if you have the SQL administrator credentials, you could input that and check connection and proceed. Once the installation is completed, you could initiate the integration by running the utility. Detailed manual installation and integration will be covered in the upcoming slides. For manual integration, BCM Master is installed separately. Be sure to use the Numara footprint asset core master.msi, which is found under the Trackit setup to install the BCM Master. You could then enable the integration by running the BCM OOP-XML import.exe utility. This utility is found under the Tools folder of Trackit. It helps import the out-of-box settings required to enable an integration between BCM and Trackit, and it works by invoking the BCM API. Therefore, you must ensure that the BCM REST API endpoints are up and running. Following is the syntax to execute the utility. In BCM server hostname, you'll enter the hostname of the BCM server, followed by the communication port, which is 1611, and finally the admin password. Once the command runs successfully, you will see the following output. To manually configure the setting in Trackit, log in to Trackit console, go to Configuration, Asset Management, and BMC Client Management configuration. To establish a connection between Trackit and BCM, you will need to ensure the settings are configured. You could proceed by inputting the BCM server name, followed by HTTP port that connects to BCM server. By default, it is port 1611. Then provide the BCM admin username. Again, by default, it's Trackit user, and credentials to connect to the Trackit account. Test connection to verify the connection between BCM and Trackit is established. For database configuration, kindly enter the BCM database instance name, followed by BCM database name, that is BCMDB, and user that is able to connect to the database and its credentials. Test connection to verify that the connection between BCM and Trackit database is established. Now let's quickly run through a demo together. So as mentioned earlier, for manual integration between BCM and Trackit, we need to install BCM server separately. I went ahead and installed BCM Master on this server using the MSI that got populated under the Trackit setup. Now let's go ahead and run the utility to integrate BCM with Trackit. You will find the utility under the Tools folder. We'll now go ahead and call this utility. So type in BCM, capital O and tab, and put in the name of the master server. Followed by the port 1610 and the password to connect to the admin account, and hit enter. You will see the following output once the command runs successfully. Also, when the utility runs successfully, it will create a Trackit account under the administrators in BCM console. So let's go there and validate the same. And yes, the Trackit account has got created. We will be using this account to configure server settings for BCM in the Trackit console. So let's go ahead and connect to Trackit. To go to BMC Client Management configuration page, click on the hamburger menu, Configuration, Asset Management, and BMC Client Management configuration. For the server settings, put in the BCM master server name, that's the host name, followed by the communication port, that is 1610. We will enable the SSL option for security purpose. Put in the name of the Trackit account that just got created, and put in the password, which is the default password, that is BCM user @06, and test connection. It has come up successfully. For database setting, pick the instance name and from the database. So connect to SQL Studio. When you connect to the data engine, the name of the server that populates is the name of the instance that you will put in the data settings. So copy that name, go to configuration page and paste it here. The name of the database will be BCMDB. Username is BCMDB user, and password is going to be the default password, that is capital BCM user @06, and test connection. Came up successfully. Now the information of the database and the user that will be connected to the database gets populated towards the end of the BCM installation through the MSI. So you could make a note of it. It's through that I came to know that the default password would be BCMDB user @06. Once the configuration is done, save the changes and you could now proceed by discovering devices using the network discovery option, followed by rolling out agents using the agent configuration option, and finally the asset synchronization to synchronize data from BCM into Trackit. Once the integration between BMC Client Management and Trackit is successful, you could then proceed with the network scan using the network discovery option found on the configuration page in Trackit. The BMC Client Management server that is configured in Trackit is set up as a default scanner. It discovers both IT and non-IT assets and populates the discovered assets in Trackit. All scanners configured in BMC Client Management are displayed on the network discovery page. To discover assets, you must select the device type that must be scanned, define the target network, and schedule the time for discovery. It is optional to provide administrative credentials to discover assets because BMC Client Management can perform an agentless discovery of assets across the network. However, to perform an agentless network discovery, it is mandatory to provide the discovery credentials. To discover devices within your network, click on the hamburger menu, go to Configuration, Asset Management, and with network discovery, you could configure a network scanner to discover assets in your environment. However, you need to make sure that the BMC Client Management configuration is populated as green before you proceed, because this option validates that a connection between BMC Client Management and Trackit is established. So click on Network Discovery. By default, the master server is picked as the scanner. However, you could configure multiple scanners to discover your network that is geographically distributed. Click on Edit Configuration. Under Scan Configuration, you get an option to configure credentials to scan Windows, Linux, Hyper-V, VMware, and network devices like printers and routers. Under Target List, you could define a range of IP addresses that you would like to discover or a subnet. And under Exclude Members, you could add IP addresses that you would like to exclude from the discovery. With Discovery Schedule, you could either schedule the scan to run on a daily basis, weekly basis, or monthly basis. But be sure to set a time. For the purpose of this scan, I will be configuring Windows credentials as I will be scanning a Windows device. And as I'm going to immediately run the scan, I'm going to leave the Enable Schedule option unchecked. Save this. After configuring the details, click on Scan Now. You will get this pop-up that the scan will start immediately. Click on Yes. On BCM side, the scan configuration and target details the teachers gave on Trackit will get populated under Asset Discovery. And go to the Assigned Scan. So this is the scan that will run now. You can see that the scan is initiated. We can see that the scan is completed and the details related to the device is populated. On Trackit side, you will have to synchronize the asset details first, and the details will then details related to the device will get populated under the asset management module. Once the scan completes, we will see that the new asset is found. Let's go back to the asset management module and verify the details. So under the hamburger option, go to asset management, refresh the scan. Once this is completed, we do see that a new workstation is populated, and this validates that the discovery was successful. With asset synchronization, you can synchronize the discovered assets and their audited information from BMC Client Management to Trackit. You could either schedule asset synchronization to run at a specific time of a day or initiate it immediately with the manual sync option. Additionally, it offers an option to automatically set the asset owner to last logged in user of asset detected by BMC Client Management. For Trackit to conduct a complete inventory scan and enable remote control functionality, it is imperative to install an agent on computer system. This installation process is facilitated through agent configuration. Within the agent configuration page, you are required to specify the credentials for deploying agents to devices. And to streamline the agent deployment process, you also have the option to automate it by enabling the automatic install agent discover devices option. Once the connection between BMC Client Management and Trackit is established and devices are discovered using the network discovery scan, you could proceed with synchronizing the data from BMC Client Management to Trackit with the help of the asset synchronization option. To get to asset synchronization option, click on the hamburger option, configuration, asset management, and asset synchronization. With manual sync, you could immediately run a scan to synchronize data from BMC Client Management to Trackit. You could also run the synchronization on a daily basis at a certain time, and it could be achieved by enabling the sync schedule option. Once the sync runs successfully, the details about the new assets that are found and the assets that are updated will get populated here. With the set owner option, you could set the last logged in user detected by BMC Client Management as the asset owner of the Trackit device. Once the asset synchronization completes, you could go to the asset management module option from the hamburger menu to see the devices that have been updated or synchronized from BCM. By the end of the agent configuration demo, we will learn on how to deploy rollouts to discover devices, collect a complete inventory, and also remote to manage devices. With the agent configuration option, you'll be able to deploy rollouts to discover devices And post that, you can run a complete inventory scan and also remove to those devices. To do so, you could configure credentials under the agent credential option to deploy rollouts to the target devices. And on enabling this option, you'll be able to automatically deploy agents to all the discovered devices. So let's try a quick demo. Click on New and I will configure one account. Password. Once that is done, let's go ahead and initiate a discovery. I'll give him the IP address only and save the options and run the scan immediately. You get a pop-up, click yes. On BCM side, like mentioned earlier, the discovery information will get populated under asset discovery. So we can see that the discovery ran successfully. Now let's go to the rollouts option, Trackit and Windows rollouts agent. And under targets, we can see that the discovered devices have been assigned for rollout deployment. Let's wait for some time. Now it started to execute the rollout. And yes, the status has changed to install. So this validates that the rollout have successfully been deployed to the target devices. Now let's switch to the Trackit device. In Trackit, we'll proceed by running an asset synchronization. So I'm going to run an immediate one so that the information from BCM will get synchronized in Trackit. So on checking further details, we see a new asset was found. That is the one that we just gave for discovery and deployment, and 2 devices were updated. The agent was deployed to the other 2 devices. So let's switch to the asset management module, refresh this page, and on expanding the client management workstation, we see that these 2 devices were deployed. On double clicking the device, you will get more details about the asset. The asset topology type of the devices that are deployed will have a client mentioned in it. With the first option, you could run an audit immediately, but as the agent is deployed already and which is done recently, the complete data of the device is already present. So we'll just click on the next option to view the asset details. So under hardware, you will see complete detail of hardware, software, security, and financial asset. On clicking this next option, you could remote into the device. So let's go ahead and click that. So you've got the page to log into the target device that has the agent installed on it. This validates our test that the rollout was deployed successfully as the topology of the device is populated as client, and we are able to run a complete audit and also remote into the device. During the process of manual configuration, if you receive a warning, could not connect to BMC Client Management database, verify connection setting and try again, then you could troubleshoot the issue by validating the name of the BCM database instance if it is given correctly. To do so, connect to the SQL Server Management Studio and check if you are able to log into the instance. Additionally, you must configure SQL Server for mixed mode authentication, as this will allow both Windows authentication and SQL Server authentication. Another very common issue that we come across while configuring BMC Client Management within Trackit is that you will get a warning saying BMC configuration has not been imported correctly. To troubleshoot this issue, you could check if the BCM master service is up and running and the access to the BCM console is working fine. You would also want to validate the connection to the BCM database instance is working fine. And you could then proceed by rerunning the utility to manually integrate BCM with Trackit and then reconfigure BMC Client Management in Trackit again and test. At times, we also come across issues where you are unable to roll out agents to discover devices and it fails with the access denied error message. To troubleshoot the issue, you need to validate that the BMC Client Management Server, which is also the default scanner, is added to the antivirus exclusion list. This is imperative because the scanner normally communicates a lot with the local share of the target device, and the environment may perceive it as a virus. Therefore, adding the BMC Client Management to the antivirus exclusion scan will not pick it as a virus. Next, you could check the C drive connectivity of the target device from the scanner. To do so, you need to log into the scanner with the credentials that is configured to deploy the rollout to the target device. In case you are still prompted to input the credentials, then you could proceed by running the below command that will create the local account token filter policy keyword and set the value to 1. By creating the local account token filter policy, you could access the local share of the target device seamlessly. Some important tips to remember for seamless usage of the application post the integration are: it is crucial that if you are planning to install Trackit and BCM on different server, to make sure that their operating system language is same and both the servers must also be in the same time zone. Next, if you would like to discover a large range of devices, you need to schedule it on a weekly or a monthly basis. Discovering devices using the Discovery Network credential will utilize licenses, and if you deploy rollout to target devices as well, it will utilize the audit license. In case you plan to raise a ticket with the Trackit or BMC Client Management support, you could do so by collecting the respective logs and uploading it to the ticket while capturing the issue. Here are a few resources that can assist you in the integration process and provide best practices. For the latest updates related to all our BMC products, you could explore the BMC communities page. Today's insights and takeaways encompass discussion on installation and integration of BMC Client Management with Trackit, covering both standard and manual method. Additionally, we dwelled into the workflow for discovering devices, deploying agents to target devices, and synchronizing details to the Trackit application. The session also included learning quick tips and tricks for seamless application usage, along with gaining an understanding of essential troubleshooting scenarios. Thank you for attending the webinar.